All right, we are live streaming. This is the Not a Podcast show. I'm your live stream host, Sean Ongley, and today's guest is Kristin, and we're gonna just kind of wing that conversation, learn about her. She has a massive Twitter following, and we were talking about earlier. It's like, how does this even happen? Because I don't know. It's funny. It's interesting to grind away at building a following. That's what I've been doing for a long time, and it's been sinking. This is now live on Twitter. This is now live on YouTube. And oh, Kristin, would you mind retweeting that before you go on? Just go to my profile and retweet it. And go to my, everybody shall go to my YouTube and like and subscribe. And please find my link in the bio. You know, that's what the kids say these days, link in bio. And I guess I heard that there's like an algorithm thing where if you say your website on YouTube, it'll downrank it or something. I heard this from Ari Shafir on a podcast. So if he's wrong, then I'm wrong because of him. But I'm going to take that advice and just say link in bio because that's what the kids do, and it's fun. Today's show is we kind of talked a little bit on the Twitter about doing something sort of toward like dating relationships, gender dynamics, men and women, that kind of stuff. That's why that's why I named it Can't Live Without Them. But I also was thinking about it today, and I was like, it's not just like, that doesn't just apply to women or men or the people that you try to procreate or domesticate with. It applies to everybody. You can't live without them. All kinds of people. And that's what this show is for. It's for everyone. It's kind of becoming my motto. It's the Held Gear slogan for everyone. And I really do believe in inclusivity. And anybody that wants to be on the show should just check it out. Just check out how to contact me through the link in bio or DM me or whatever, because I'm open and I want to kind of have a counterbalance from person to person and learn about different sides of arguments over time. And that's one thing I like about doing this show. Kristin's screen went black. So now I'm stretching a little bit. Okay, I don't know. Oh, she rejoined. Oh, we're good to go. All right, we're going to bring her on now. Here it is. Here she is. Excuse me. That's funny that I did that. It is. And that's going to connect because that's how a dude was talking about women at work this week. And I was like, oh, that's funny. It's a different way of perceiving things. Anyway, here is Kristin, Special K. Hi, Kristin. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
Groovy. I know. I'm
I think
glad
my
you joined
screen
me.
went blank because I was trying to retweet the tweet, and I'm just like not very good at all this fancy stuff.
Okay, good. I just kicked that blank screen out of the of the room, so it was still like showing up, which is kind of weird.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So thanks for joining me, and also thanks for making it easy. You made it pretty simple to schedule this and make it work.
Okay.
I've been having
I try to
trouble
be
lately.
accommodating.
That's good. That's good. It's complex sometimes getting people on the show, getting a schedule to work out. Some people kind of play games with it. They like agree and then they just drop it. It's like, why
Yeah.
do you play it that way? But
I like, to be honest, I kind of like thought about canceling because I was like nervous. It's like I don't know if I'm gonna be good at this. But I'm like that with like everything that I get nervous about. I just like decide that I don't want to do it, but then I end up doing it and it's fine.
yeah, that's the good attitude, right? And I think
Yeah.
that's probably, I try not to get mad at anybody that drops out because they might just be getting nervous or get busy or whatever.
Yeah.
Life can be challenging. So tell
Yeah.
me,
And I mean, like, I have three kids. So
there you
I was
go.
like trying to figure out like how I was going to be able to do it and then not like come in and interrupt me every 5 minutes.
Yeah, so they're just outside going, mom's on live
They're
stream.
watching the Obi-Wan series on Disney Plus. They're kind of into it.
Yeah. What do you think of that? Do you like it?
I
Star
mean, I'm
Wars?
I'm watching it like we watch it as a family, so it's fun. Like there's things that like they want to watch that I'm just like not even all that into, but I mean, I watch it because that's what they want to watch. Which is very different from how it was when I was a kid because I just had to watch whatever my parents wanted to watch.
So did they like cartoons a lot?
My parents, no. I watched a lot of Golden Girls.
Oh yeah.
Because like usually it was me and my mom because my dad would be out of town a lot for work. Um, so it was just whatever my mom wanted to watch, and she liked all the primetime shows. So
Right. Um, that let's talk about where you're from. Where are you from? Like you sound like you're coming from a suburban life. I grew up a lot like what we watched, and my parents will ask me whenever I visit, like, "What are you watching right now? What are your shows?" And I like I don't really.
well, I live in South Louisiana. I was basically raised by like I guess you could say it was like in a conservative Christian home. But um, I don't know, like my it wasn't like that at first. So I mean, there were things that like I could not watch on TV. Um, but so
That they didn't want to watch.
sorry,
They
my
wouldn't.
kid's going.
They couldn't watch it. They
I
made
wasn't allowed.
themselves
I
not,
wasn't allowed. Yeah.
but they were allowed. Would they watch it?
No, I mean like some of the things like I wasn't allowed to watch MTV. So I had to like sneak and watch MTV because it's like whenever you tell somebody that they can't,
Yeah,
they want it more.
of course. What is this mystery?
Yeah, like why don't they
Must be
want me to
important.
watch it? What's so bad? So,
Um, so
but it's
Louisiana.
where I live. Yeah, and like where I live, it's a pretty conservative area. It is so it's like a suburb of New Orleans is what I say.
Mhm.
Um, so, but it's a little different from like I guess what other parts of the country are. Um, so I don't want it to turn into like a liberal enclave at all.
Right. Well, okay. So do you view yourself as a conservative, or you're like you seem to be in these more of the liberty Twitter gang?
Yeah, I'm not I don't really consider myself a conservative. I kind of rebelled against a lot of that. I do I am a Christian, but I just have very different views from so-called conservatives. I don't really I don't really think that we need to force our religion onto people because like there are a lot of people that are like-minded that don't necessarily jive with Christianity, and like we need to respect that. So I'm not like the extreme side, and I kind of rebelled against like my parents were very what's the word? It's like you kind of have to like do certain things, you know. And I just feel like you should just let people make their own decisions and do what they want. I'm a very independent thinker. I think we should all have the freedom to do what we enjoy.
Um, so people should be allowed to people should get their freak on, is what you're saying.
Yeah,
If
that
if
I don't really have a problem with drugs. I think the decriminalization of most drugs is a good idea. Um, I don't I don't think it's fair to put people in prison because they like to smoke weed, um, that kind of thing. I don't think marijuana is a gateway drug,
did,
which,
mhm.
no, you go
I mean,
ahead.
that's like conservative versus liberal versus libertarian. The
Yeah.
conservative wants to kind of ban these things, prohibit these things, typically, right? That's what we think of a Republican.
Yes.
And then the Democrats, the liberals, you might say, would like to regulate, to bring it into the legal system, but then have a high degree of control over the market. Uh,
Mhm.
and the libertarian wants to fully decriminalize and kind of let it happen, whatever, right? Whatever the market does.
Yeah.
And these days I'm changing a lot, and I'm just talking to people and learning. And I don't know, I don't have too many opinions anymore because I'm not a statist, but I'm not an anarchist really either.
Mhm.
I'm not a libertarian, but I'm certainly not a Republican, and I'm no longer voting Democrat. Right. So I don't know where I am
Yeah.
at. I'm wandering around. And
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of us are like that though. Because I think we're seeing what especially the two parties, because I mean they both have things that I don't like. Um, and I guess just with like everything that happened with COVID, I mean, you had Republicans and Democrats like, you know, enforcing and mask mandates and locking down their states and stuff like that. Now, I mean, most of the Republicans have kind of like uh, let all that go, but just the fact that they were in support of it in the first place, I don't know, it just kind of opened my eyes a little bit.
it's I'm always looking for commonalities, and I medical freedom is something that I think everybody wants. If we're going to talk
Hmm.
about the right to choose, then we should be talking about medical freedom, not the right. That's what I think is we shouldn't be talking about the right to choose because that's a framed argument to divide us. We should be talking about
Right.
medical freedom so that you are no longer, and I don't even like the word freedom because I think freedom is kind of like thrown into these like I think of Bush. I think of they want to kill us for our freedoms. And it kind of made it
Hmm.
clowned that word forever after that because it was a stupid thing to say and it is remains stupid. And it's not it's like I just value privacy. I value the what
You
people
just want to be left alone.
yeah. And I do believe I'm a spiritual person. I'm not oh, you're freezing a little bit. You're
Oh.
okay, I hear you. The I'm not like spiritual with a religion, and I can't judge what the right religion is or what the right belief system is.
Hmm.
Um, okay, good. I hear you.
Okay. I can see you.
Yeah, your image is stuck on my screen.
Okay.
Hopefully, it'll wash out in the end result. But this is weird. Part of that might be because of people streaming and stuff and bogging down the internet at home. I should have mentioned that at the beginning, but you've caught up. Your
Okay.
screen is back with me. Um,
Okay.
so do you?
Yeah, because we don't have cable, so we stream a lot in my house.
Yeah. Um, so you have a full nuclear household, right?
Hmm.
You're not raising the kids
Yes.
on your own.
No, I have a husband. I have three boys. I actually have a stepson and a stepdaughter that are much older. Um, so it's
What's much older?
so my stepdaughter's 25. She's
Mm,
married, and she has a son that's about to be a year old. And my stepson is 21.
all right. So you
And
have
I was gonna say, and the sons that we have together are 10, 8, and 7. So there's a huge age difference
yeah,
between them.
yeah. Were they sharing the house at any time?
No, they lived in Texas with their mom, so they would
Okay.
come visit for summers and holidays.
From your position, then you're observing the world through your family's lens, which gives you quite an age range. You can
Yeah.
see what young kids, what young adults are going through, what they're dealing with. in this new world, and you're old enough to remember things like rotary phones,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I mean,
And
I'm
having to get up to turn the TV channel.
right, and having only so many channels, and making appointments with the TV. That was a big deal. You're making appointments with the TV. We're gonna watch.
Oh, when you had the VCR recorder was like when everything changed though, because like you could record everything in case you like had to miss it or whatever. Because we would like schedule ours to record certain things. I
And,
remember begging my mom to let me record Dirty Dancing on HBO.
yeah, Dirty Dancing. And then how many times did you watch that?
A ton. Like it was one of my favorite movies. But
People
it's like
don't.
now that I think about it, like why did my mom let me watch it? Because like the Penny has an abortion in it, and like I forget how old I was. Maybe I was like 9 or 10. And I was like asking my mom, I'm like, what happened to her? Because I had no idea what they were talking about.
Right. When did you figure that out?
Well, my mom told me, like, that's the thing. My parents are very honest with me. Like, they kind of treated me like a little adult, you know? So, I mean, they would explain stuff to me. And they didn't really hide a lot of things.
That's
Um,
interesting. But they were very, very conservative Christian.
yeah, I think they got a little bit more so as they got older.
Hmm.
Because I mean, like when I'm talking about, like, they're a little bit more laid back. It was when I got probably into like junior high and high school that they became a little bit more strict about it. And I think it was because I was getting older and they were getting scared
Yeah.
of just the things that I was going to get exposed to.
It's good that they were transparent though, and not hiding this content too much. People don't realize how powerful the VCR was. I was thinking about the VCR the other day. There was something like much simpler about recording things in that fashion than today. It's actually harder
Hmm.
to capture media. The average person doesn't really know how to just like record a video stream because it's online. It's very protected now, the way the technology works. But it was a simple analog signal and a tape recorder, and you could schedule that thing and you could capture live TV.
Hmm.
And if it ever got scrubbed, you had that VCR copy of the real live event. And
Hmm.
mostly what we did with them was record our favorite shows, and even we would even just like make
Yeah.
basically a television mixtape. We would record jokes from Simpsons and Seinfeld that we knew were coming. We already knew they were coming because we watched so many reruns, and we would
Hmm.
record these little bits and then watch
And
them.
like
It
the
was
worst thing is if you recorded over like one of your favorite uh, recordings on accident.
Oh, the worst happened to yes. We actually I was making little movies with my friends, and it with just the handheld VCR, the shoulder mounted VCR camcorder, and
Hmm.
we were making little sketches and shows, fake shows. It was really fun. And at some point, an automatic recorder, I think, on the VCR, years after making these things, set off, or somebody pressed a button or something, and it just recorded over one of our entire childhood, like
Oh man.
these movies that we made. It was just we produced movies of our own original creations, and instead we have this like episode of Conan O'Brien that's taped over it. It's terrible. Really unfortunate.
That sucks.
Yeah, it does. But I think it's powerful to be able to just press the tape and capture the media and then play it back. And in our world of digital replication, it's more about sharing, and these things get shared and bounced around,
Hmm.
and they kind of change over time. Things disappear. Uh, I don't know where I'm going with this. It, we're living in a digital time. People get
Yeah.
together digitally, men and women. That was something we kind of wanted to talk about. So I'll trying to transition there. Get together digitally, and that's a new thing. You're married, so you haven't had to deal with this for a long time. When was the last time you were dating?
Well, I got married in 2010, so we were together 2 years before we got married, 2.5 years before we got married. So, like, our first date was in 2000, like no, November 2007. So,
Okay. And how did you find each other?
we met at work. I
Oh,
worked
that's
at
not allowed
Applebee's.
today.
I
That's
know, like. It's funny because I was working today, and one of the girls that works with me, her parents actually met at the gym that we work at. So she pretty much was like raised in the place. And so she was like, said something about that. And I was like, yeah, I was like, I met my husband at work. She was like, yeah, she's like, I met my boyfriend working here. And I'm like, I'm like thinking to myself, I'm like, this, like, you don't think that it still happens, but I mean, obviously it does. They're teenagers. But it's just funny how things have changed over the years. And like, I mean, they had like sexual harassment, stuff. I remember working at Applebee's and a guy getting fired because he like said something inappropriate to one of my coworkers. But it's like most like I've gosh, there's so many people that I worked with in restaurants that met their spouses there. So
the
I
work
mean, maybe it still goes on in restaurants, just not in like other places.
the workplace is actually a natural place to meet somebody. You spend more time, you get very intimate with your coworkers.
Yeah,
And so it's a natural place. And then but some things are much better. Like restaurants notoriously had boys clubs in the kitchen kind of thing. And I mean, I just remember being a dishwasher like let's see, when was 2005? A dishwasher in college, working at a brewery, in the restaurant. And a hot waitress would walk in and it would completely change the energy. And often things regrettable were said. And people, you know, hooked up there a lot. Like I would
yeah.
see people hook up there. There were very tight relationships, good committed relationships. But then there was just people hooking up. And then there's restaurants. So like there was one very notorious for just people doing drugs, getting fucked up, and people fucking each other. And uh, some restaurants are more professional. Applebee's is not going to have that scene so much. I don't think.
No, it was there were times when it was pretty wild, but like he was like the one of the first people that I ever really like dated from there. Now I was probably one of the people, like, I would say sexually inappropriate things to the guys on the line like all the time. Um I don't
Right.
know.
That's how I think that's
I was
how a
just
lot of
like
women
that.
fight back. Yeah, it's fun. I think it was fun
Well, like
for a lot of people.
I'm an instigator sometimes, and like I don't know, like there are like one or two guys that like I knew they were going to be good sports about it, so I would like I would say things, and like you always want to be nice to the kitchen, so I mean like you always do complimentary things anyways, and I mean sometimes they're sexual, so
I think for one thing, that's a way that women can kind of take control of a situation and not feel harassed is to dish it right back. And then it just becomes funny. The whole tension, it seems to dissolve when that happens. And it can be fun. And I'd like to see that world where it was like a sexual liberation thing of the 70s gone awry or something. And had to
yeah.
correct. It did have to correct. Like Me Too isn't all bad. And for a lot of people, it's all
Yeah,
good.
I
And
mean,
so a lot of progressive friends I have would say it's all good. I don't think it's all good. I don't, and a lot
Yeah.
of my, more conservative friends would say it's crazy, and I don't agree with that either. It's we need we need to clean up our act. I'm definitely a fan of consent. I'm bashful for one thing, so I'm never the one. I may be a little flirty, but I know I don't take it up to any kind of level.
Well, it's good to know that somebody is into the flirting, right? Like that helps it along. So I would agree with that. Like, I mean, I don't know. I guess it seems like some of the like just the vibe that I get from like some younger people I know, like they kind of have like a different mindset. Like I often think that like they need to have more of a sense of humor about things, because there are things that like I see or hear that don't bother me, that I'm just like, oh, you're just trying to be funny, that they make a big deal about. So I think I
I
don't know if it's hmm?
I mean, I relate. I get it. Like, I remember being that way, and I kind of had it was still a bit like that. I got in like an argument with my cousin not long ago, and I just remember kind of getting upset after many beers, but over like a liberal issue that I was
Hmm.
championing, and I don't get upset about these things, no matter what our disagreement is. It's just not worth it anymore. But yeah, getting upset over teenagers and then 20 somethings, the ideals are very important to you, and you protect them. And it can
Hmm.
be that way for religious people. um I was talking about that with somebody, just like he's religious, but he doesn't concern him, he just doesn't pay mind to other people's problems. It's none of his business. Or not problems, excuse me, whether or not they're religious or not, or what their beliefs are. It just doesn't pay it mind. It's not his business, so it doesn't concern him. It doesn't become a conflict. It's that simple,
Hmm.
you know and when you get older, I think that's easier to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think I don't know if it's like you get like an apathy or like it's just you start to realize that like not everybody has to agree with you. I know like when I was probably a teenager, I wanted everyone to agree with me. I used to get into like huge debates with my dad about things, because he was one that would like to have these like long conversations. Um, and I would just get so frustrated that like he didn't agree with everything I had to say. But like as I got older, I would like we still, I mean, he passed away in 2015, but if we had a conversation today, um we would disagree on some things, like, he especially like drugs for that matter. Because we had a conversation about how, I thought weed should be legalized at the time. And he vehemently disagreed, and I was totally okay with it. I'm like, but if the conversation would have been had when I was 18, I probably would have been like so mad that like he didn't agree with all the fine points that I brought up. um
Oh yeah,
so I think that might
loaded.
be like part of it with the younger generation, is like
It's part of
everybody
being
they
young.
want.
It's just part of being young.
Yeah.
What was that adage? What is that phrase? It's like when you're if you're young and you don't and you're liberal and you're not
Oh,
liberal, then you have no heart. If you're old and you're not conservative, then you have no brain, or something like that.
yeah,
And
something like that. Yeah.
yeah, the older I get, the more I understand what that's about, what I think that's about. And
Hmm.
you know, um, for me, it's power. I think we liberal folks don't realize how much the power is abused, uh, or they don't think about it enough, in my opinion. Um,
Yeah.
it's just,
Well, man, I don't know if conservatives think about it enough
yeah,
either.
yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
mean, I think both sides are guilty of doing it in certain times.
Yeah, um, yeah. Republicans are not decentralists. They love centralized
Hmm.
power, even though it's just a compromise to have a little bit more state power, but they love having that executive power to go drop bombs. That's been the way.
Yeah.
And you know what? You can think you can frame it right now like it's Biden is some kind of warmonger for going after Ukraine. I wouldn't doubt something like would be happening with Republicans in office too. I wouldn't doubt Trump to
Yeah,
go.
because I mean, there are some Republicans in the Senate and the House, I believe, that are like extremely supportive of the war in Ukraine,
Yeah. And Tulsi just
which
backed one of
is
them.
just like, oh, did she?
Yeah, Grassley. She comes out of being
Oh,
a
okay.
Democrat and immediately endorses a Republican. It's just okay, yeah, you're just swinging. You're just swinging, playing your career. I don't know.
I, I I honestly feel like she doesn't fit into either one, but it's like a lot of times people feel like they have to, pick one.
She's got a good career on her hands. She's pretty. She's well spoken. Articulate.
Yeah.
She raises good points. Has a nuanced way of thinking and explaining things, um, and I bet she would be a lot of these people. I'm sure I would enjoy having them on the show. I'd enjoy.
Yeah.
You know, I bet if you could hang out with, just meet someone like Joe Biden at a bar by accident, you might not have such a bad time for 5-10
I mean,
minutes.
I probably just think he was some, daughter like funny boomer,
Right.
because I mean, I interact with people in his age group all the time, where I work,
You work
and
at the gym, you said? Okay.
yeah, um, and they tell me little corny jokes and little stories and stuff like that, and I listen to it. I love it. Um, I just don't know if I want them running the country. you know.
It's crazy that
Um,
he's silent generation almost. Almost.
yeah, he's actually 2 years older than my mom, I believe. My mom is going to be 78 in December. And like that's what like her main problem is. She's like, he's older than I am. Like neither one of us should be in office.
Enjoy your
um,
retirement. Why are these
yeah,
guys?
that's what and like just look at Nancy Pelosi and you mentioned Chuck Grassley. He's 89 and he just got elected to a 6-year term. So, because
Tulsi.
I was talking to my husband earlier because we had Steve Scalise up for reelection and John Kennedy up for reelection, and I told my husband I was like, I think Steve Scalise like won the election before like the polls even opened yesterday, just from like early voting, because I mean like he's just like I'm like he's gonna be like you know Nancy Pelosi, and like all these other people that are like in there for like 50, 60 years. Cause like, it's like, I don't know what it is, but like once you find, like, you just keep going with what you know?
I know. You go with what you know. It's true. It's called conditioning. And I've been concerned for my entire adult life with deconditioning. Uh, I have good reason for that. I was raised in a cult. I was raised a Scientologist.
Oh,
I talked,
oh, wow.
yeah, but we don't talk about that on this show because I talked about it with Forrest Mommy. I've talked about it in articles on my website.
Okay. But that's like really fascinating. I'll
It
have to
is,
look
and
in,
it's
I'll have
good.
to go to your website.
Yeah, it's good context because it made me want to decondition, and I
Mm.
certainly don't go out of my way to talk negatively about that fine organization.
They seem like some very fine people.
Yes, yeah, very fine people on both sides, always.
Yeah.
um,
Oh,
those who
I don't,
stayed in and those who got
I,
out, very fine people, everyone. So
yes.
yes, we got out though, and we're no longer nobody's involved with it anymore. It's been a very long time, but it's my whole adult life has been deconditioning, and so I struggle with the idea of joining a church. Um, I don't think it's going to happen. I
That's understandable. I mean, after Scientology, that I can see that.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, and so but what the gift of that, I guess, is that I feel like a bit more free. I think it feels that way than people who are really adhering to systems of thought, belief systems.
Mhm.
I like, and now politically, I'm free floating too. The that was like an important stage of this deconditioning. I think we could all benefit from that. We should all be swing voters. We should all be willing to
Yeah,
vote for whoever seems like the best person. Um, because I think the better person is, corruptibility is the real problem. Some,
yeah,
yeah. I think when you're desperate to remain in a group, you're corruptible. In a party, you're corruptible. There's all kinds of ways. What were you going to say?
I don't know, I lost what I was gonna say.
Oh, okay. I th-
But yeah, and I mean, political parties can sometimes be kind of cult-like in
Absolutely.
the way that they have somebody that basically represents the party, and they can do no wrong. You can't say anything bad about them. Um, and I have a huge problem with that. Because I mean, I think no one is above reproach. We're all human beings. Nobody's perfect. Um, and you're right. Like you should constantly, like you don't have to necessarily like just vote Republican or just vote Democrat. Um, you know, just look at the candidates that you think are going to best represent your interests. Um, because like all of them are corruptible, as you can see by how much money they've made since they've become a politician. A lot of times these people go to Washington and like all of a sudden they're millionaires. And it's like, well, you make six figures a year. Um,
well, that's not anything.
how did
Six,
you take in all these millions last year
yeah. What's the other
on
money?
that
It's the
salary?
salary ain't
Yeah,
nothing.
a lot of
It's
it is stocks
that kind of
for
stuff.
some of them.
Insider. They're all insider trading. Why wouldn't you be? I mean, any inside information I have, which I have none, but if I have any like insight over something, I'll choose the stock that's going to give me the best return based on that insight. It's simple. And
Yeah.
since you're in Congress, you can leverage that. Um, yeah, I wanted to. This is a sudden shift. You work at a gym, uh,
Okay.
so uh, you're athletic. I see you like to do selfies that show that you work out. I like
Yeah, I do them
appreciate that.
sometimes.
It's good to encourage that and advocate for that. You're a mother of three, so you look healthy, you look good, and I think that's important. Um, so, I don't know. What is, what does that mean to you? What is being fit? Why is that important to you?
Um, well, I mean, a lot of it was because I gained a lot of weight. I I had three kids in like, gosh, three years. All my kids are like a year and a half apart. So I never really, and I gained a lot of weight with each pregnancy. So I had a lot of weight to lose, and I didn't want to be an overweight mom. Basically, I wanted to be able to keep up with my kids. I have three very active boys, and also my family has a risk of like heart disease, type two diabetes, stuff like that, and I didn't want to, become like that. So, you know, I, I've I've had I love food, and I live in an area where like we have all this amazing food. So I had to kind of like get that under control and learn how to eat right and exercise because I never really did it like consistently before. Um, I did some stuff, but like once I started working at the gym, which was in 2019, that's when I like got a little serious about it, and like actually like lifting weights and trying to tone up my muscles and things like that. Um, I just felt like it was just better for me, for my overall health and for my mental health too. Because life is stressful, and sometimes going to the gym and working out, like it's like you can release a lot of things. So, and I'm
That's
like the only one in my family that doesn't have high cholesterol, high blood pressure, and like high blood sugar right now. So I feel like I'm doing the right things.
good. And you can't seem to persuade them to do those same things. It sounds like.
Well, a lot of it is like my mom, and I mean, she has limitations, but um, so, and then my sister, she's just kind of gonna do whatever she wants to do. But I do encourage a lot of people that I'm not related to, and I love that. Like I have a friend, at work that we both kind of like get onto each other because sometimes life happens and you miss a few workouts, and I have a friend. It's like we kind of if one of us hasn't been coming to class, we'll like call the other one and be like, "What's going on?" So.
Yeah, it's good to have a workout buddy. Uh,
Mm,
I never really had one. I kind of had one a little bit. I got somebody to start going to a yoga class with me. Uh, Yoga is huge for me. It's my main
yeah,
form of exercise outside of just kind of like active lifestyle stuff. Taking my bicycle instead of a car to places. I'll bike 6 miles to a dance club, dance for a few hours, and then bike home. And
that's
that's
awesome.
yeah. At 2, 3 a.m. and so, yeah. um, through the hood in
Have you been
Philadelphia.
drinking?
Oh yeah, I'll be pretty
Have you been
toasty.
drinking? I don't think I've ever ridden a bike drunk.
I was well trained in
Is
my
that
20s
is
in
that
Portland,
different?
Oregon.
Oh, okay.
Oh yeah, all the hipster kids were biking around wasted. Uh,
Okay.
I was a hipster kid in Portland, Oregon for a long time. But now I'm like a 40-year-old hipster kid in Philadelphia. It's still a kid. I don't have kids. I'm still dating again. Um,
Okay.
Part of that is that the exercises. I'm like, well, yeah, if I'm gonna maintain myself to have a family someday, which because that slipped through my hands up to this point, um, then I really need to stay young. I need to stay young now. Plus, I'm doing things that like I started a fashion brand and no, excuse me, I took over. I inherited a fashion brand. I wouldn't say started, and doing media again. And so it's like I have a lot of reason to stay young and try to stay fit and healthy and keep this thing. I don't have a lot of money for doctor bills either, so I better hedge
Yeah.
my bets. Um, but yeah, I don't like dating. I find the
Okay.
dating situation is tough. Maybe you can speak from what you observe with your friends and your kids.
Is this like online dating?
I gave up online dating. I had a little
Okay.
4-month relationship that came out of the Hinge app. I actually threw the app
Hmm.
away while we were together, but then she did something, and I'm not going to talk about it. She did something, and I didn't dig it, and
Yeah.
and so I split, and we're cool. But I'm other than that, I've just kind of like gotten hung up on chicks, like, and then gotten nowhere with it. Um,
Mm.
or been out with them a couple times, or had a little fling here and there, but without the app, I feel like dating and in this complex sort of fear. So not only coming out of like a 6-year relationship and then having to relearn how it was to date and meet women and be romantic and go through the courting process, relearn that. Um, Also, in this time where between the time that we got together and broke up, also during like the beginning of COVID, that didn't help. Um, was and we yeah, I shouldn't get too detailed about it, but I just find that it's very confusing to me. Is what I'm trying to say. Uh,
Mm.
it's like the what. I'm way more afraid of saying the wrong thing or being too suggestive to a woman than I should be. And I think
Uh-huh.
that's partially just something that I've always from a I've never really overcome that little teenager in me that's afraid to ask a girl out. But
Mhm.
I have overcome that many times. But now I seem more nervous because of the social conditioning going on. And I might be blaming it on that, but it seems to be part of it. And if you're not hooking up through an app, then it's a very awkward thing. But then
Mhm.
I was listening to guys at work talk, and he was referring to women as its. I'll roll up on it. I'll roll up on all of them, all of its. It's like he has no problem rolling up on every woman that he finds attractive and just trying to going for the
Yeah.
number or whatnot. That's the opposite of me.
I guess
And,
maybe is he approaching it as like a salesman would? Because like when I used to do sales, like they say you have to if you want to get like 10 yeses, you have to ask 100 people. You know, so like
yeah, I think that's essentially it. Yeah.
maybe he's just like eventually one of these girls is gonna like it.
I think he hits it a lot. I think he, gets enough ratios. His ratio is good enough that he's satisfied. But I think that there's an emotional detachment to that too. And it depends what you're looking for. I really am looking for the right person now, not just to go around
Mhm.
hooking up. So, but
Yeah, is there a lot more people that are just like, they just wanna date, they just wanna hook up as opposed to like I've asked, some people that I work with, like, if they're dating with marriage in mind. Because like, I know whenever my husband and I first started dating, like, I knew he had been married before, I knew he had 2 kids, and I was like very open. I was like, look, I want to get married. I want to have kids. I had been in like a 2.5 year relationship that like just wasn't good for me. And I was like, I'm wasting my time with people that don't even want the same things that I want. So like kind of when I met my husband, I was just like, you know what, I'm just gonna be perfectly honest and upfront and be like, look, this is what I want. If you don't want these things, I mean, I didn't say it on the first date, but I made it very clear, like, this is what I'm looking for. So like if it's not what you're looking for, like I really like you, but maybe we shouldn't keep doing this, you know?
yeah,
So and I
yeah,
don't know if people are doing that these days. I think they're just like okay with just dating.
yeah. I agree. I agree. I think dating has been conditioned into an industry. I think it's an unnatural thing that's going on. I think it's prolonging childhood. I think dating is really something that should be taking place in high school, and then outside of high school, you're living your life. And the people who orbit in your life and you become attracted to, you should just be transparent with each other. That's how I think it is, and I think it's some kind of bizarre game, and and it benefits industries quite directly,
Mm.
the app industries, but then also hospitality. There's so many people out there just going on dates, blowing money at Applebee's. you know,
I actually I actually saw someone get engaged at Applebee's.
at
So
Applebee's.
it's
Did they meet
it's a
there?
place
Why were
for
they getting
lovers.
engaged at
I don't
Applebee's?
know. So you want me to tell you the story because it was so weird. It was Valentine's Day night.
Okay.
I was
Oh,
working.
adorable.
And this is why like I can't stand like Hallmark holidays. And Valentine's Day is one of them. But yeah, it was like this guy, he was so cute. Like I feel bad like that because I kind of made fun of him in the kitchen. So I was like, he they got he's like, I'm gonna order some mozzarella sticks and I want you to put the ring box in the order of mozzarella sticks next to
Mozzarella
marinara.
sticks, hot, dripping like like deep
And
fried
I was just like,
mozzarella
that's
sticks.
so romantic. Oh my gosh. And I was like, mozzarella sticks? Like I literally
Poor
like was like in
aesthetic. choice.
in the kitchen. I was like, mozzarella sticks? Like the best thing he could come up with is
You
mozzarella
know what?
sticks? I'm like, I don't know.
She probably
But
loves him
yeah,
for his poor
she said
aesthetic
yes.
choices.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're probably extremely happy, and, like, maybe she really loved cheese sticks. I don't know, but, I was just like, "This is not what I would want," but she
Yeah.
seemed really into it, so it was sweet. I felt bad making fun of it, but I was just like, "I would never." I honestly, like, I had a whole problem with the whole, like, public, like, engagement. I'm like, "If anybody ever does that to me, like, I'll probably just, like, walk away because it's just, like, everybody's looking at you, and so
Yeah, so I've only proposed once, but it wasn't really a proposal. It was the one that we split, last one we split. All right, gosh, you know what I'm saying. Um,
yeah.
we talked about it, is what we did. We
Yeah.
designated, we planned a day, and it was nice. We planned a day,
Mhm.
and we went to like out to eat. We went to like some place in the forest, like, and we went for a walk in the forest and talked about it. And so I never like popped the question, but I was
Yeah.
engaged, and so it was like marriage because we lived together while being engaged, and then never planned
Yeah.
a wedding, right? Um,
Yeah, I lived with my husband while we were engaged,
I, I
so and,
I've lived with
like, I'm sorry.
I mean, I've lived. I think it's pretty normal, and I've lived with another woman in a relationship without an engagement too. These days, it's very normal to do that. It's almost part of the dating
Mhm.
process.
Yeah,
I don't agree with it
I don't
anymore.
know.
I think you really
Yeah.
ought to just know who you're with and go like, yeah, I'm ready to commit. Commitment is just a choice, and it's never perfect. The
Mhm.
person is never perfect, and I know this. Although I still keep seeking some ideal of a person, I think it's ridiculous. S-
Yeah, I
Uh,
think I think we all kind of have ideals in our heads,
yeah.
and I don't think that I don't think that's a bad thing because I mean I think it's better to know like kind of what you want and what you're looking for so that you can find the person that like has the same feelings.
And I just feel like for some reason I want to note for the record that I don't feel that there's any reason for us to discuss like transgender kind of dynamics because it's not our place. It's not where we live. It's not what we do. But I would love to have guests to talk about that kind of life on this show.
Mm,
So that's for the record. But so yeah, I think that this dynamic of the apps, the fear of being um, canceled, if you will, or outed, something going awry for hitting on a woman uh, causes problems. Men are softer. Men are a little bit less masculine. Some of them, I see a lot of young bros, so it's not like it's not that way. But I think that,
yeah, there are some.
yeah, I see them.
I see a lot of women that
I work with them. Yeah,
the bros.
yeah,
Um, I don't know. I see a lot of women like I've been in situations where it's like wives or girlfriends like basically like telling their husband or boyfriend like to stop talking or um kind of like
Shh,
making
the
fun of
women are
them like to
talking.
their face in like a group of people, and I don't
Yeah.
necessarily like that either. Um, you know,
Well,
so
that's another
I
problem.
think we all have like on each side, like men and women. I think we're doing things a little differently, and it is a little because like you have the strong, independent woman that acts like I don't need a man, I want one, but I don't need you to do all these things for me. But it's like, well, I mean me personally, it's like I want a man to like protect me and, to provide for me. Yes, I work too, but it's like that's what y'all like want to do is like to protect and provide, and like women want to like nurture and care. So it's like I think women for some of us are kind of like trying not to nurture and care, um, and act like they can, protect and provide themselves in a way nowadays. Um, and I think they kind of need to like embrace their like inner femininity. Um, and I think men need to be a little more masculine. Like,
I mean, I feel like both need to find their balance, and that's
yeah, that's what I'm trying to say.
it's an awkward time. Yeah, I think it's historically an awkward time. I think these things do have a way of leveling out. We a lot of things are correcting for the good. Like women have been, you know, uh, treated quite poorly um, historically, and uh, it's just a lot of things are improving, but it's like I accept that there's going to be friction. I accept that there's going to be a lot of anger and pushback and sort of overcorrection, and ultimately, if the sooner that we find that we're all just mostly living the same kind of lives, have basically the same sort of intentions, and that if someone wants to get what you perceive to be freaky, you got to let them get freaky. And then if you perceive yourself as a freak and someone's getting conservative, that looks freaky to you. You got to let them do that. And it's just as simple as, when,
Yeah.
and,
What is it? Live and let live
yeah. And
kind of mindset.
I don't know. And so, but this prolonging of like childhood, the, I don't know what to say about it really. Uh, I'm not, I'm not seeking dating advice, but,
Oh yeah.
it's like it is something on my mind because I'm living that now, and it's just
Hmm.
it really is something I'm observing from this perspective of being approaching mid-age and seeing 20 years pass 20 plus years since I was an adult living on my own. Things really do look different. The way we're acting together is different. Some of it's better, some of it's not. I'm just
Yeah.
ranting at you. I'm just
Oh no, it's
ranting at
okay.
you. I'm just looking at the clock. We're coming up on 57 minutes. Um,
Okay.
we are at 57 minutes, coming up on an hour. I usually shut these down at an hour, and I feel like if we open up another topic, could go
Yeah,
for
we
a
might go
while.
a little over.
Um, is there anything that we didn't touch on that you feel like is worth touching on?
No, I
Uh,
mean, I really enjoyed this conversation.
I hope you do more live streams. I can't believe you don't. You have
Yeah.
25,000 followers. Oh, yeah, that's something we didn't touch on.
No, I
That's
have
what.
I think I have 14,000 is what I
Oh,
saw
okay.
today.
14,000. Where did I
So
get 25 from?
I don't
Somebody
know.
does.
Because you think I should have 25.
You'll get there. Did you get the verification today? Did you do that?
Yes, I did. I paid for it.
$8 a
Which
month.
because I tweeted out, I was like, I'll pay $8 to be a verified smartass. I'm like, I don't care.
It's $1.
So eight eight
eight
dollars.
dollars. Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
thought. $8 a month.
Hmm.
Okay.
It's actually $7.99.
It's interesting. I was just
Yeah.
listening to an analysis of Elon Musk talking about that and on No Agenda. You ever hear that show?
No,
Podcast, No Agenda podcast.
I don't think so.
They have an interesting view on where this is going. Elon pretty
I'll have
much
to
puts
check
it.
that out.
Yeah, I recommend the show. Um, so Yeah, I'm a little concerned about Twitter. I don't want to do the blue check thing. But it looks like my piddly following is going to get even worse because they're going to be ranking everybody by these checks. And
Oh, really?
yeah, uh-huh. So it kind of stinks. I might have to start looking for additional places to go. But what I was wanting to ask was like, what is it like for you, and how did that happen? When did it happen that you got you're because here I'm talking to you, you're just a woman that works at a gym in Louisiana with raising her kids.
I don't know. I think just I it it kind of just happened. I really don't know if there's like any kind of like secret formula. That
When did that begin to grow? And what were you doing? What tweets were
well, I mean,
getting
like after 26, after like the election, like everything got a little. I mean, and I started tweeting a lot more.
Were you pro Trump? Are
And
you don't view yourself as MAGA, do you?
no, 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 no. But I mean, I at the time, I didn't want another Democrat. I thought we needed some, some kind of change. But I mean, I don't really know.
But it's that. It was that aspect that that's when your following
Yeah,
began because you were tweeting things that were resonating to that
and
scene.
it also helps. Like, I got retweeted by certain people, and you know, there were tweets that, like my pinned tweet has like 11,000 likes on it. And it's just a picture of this lady protesting
Right.
outside of a Hooters that says women are not for decoration. And it's like, it's a total meme. Like, it's not even like the girl wasn't holding this sign that says some because I didn't know it. Somebody pointed it out to me. Um, so, and I mean, I don't know. It's like you have a good meme or a good post, and it goes off, and you get a bunch of followers. Like, and then like I was saying earlier, it's like once you get to like 10,000, it's like it just more like you gain followers. I think you're just more visible. You probably come up like in suggestions more often for more people. Um, I don't really know, like, what the
Yeah.
secret is.
I guess I didn't think you knew a secret, but I just find it interesting, you
Yeah.
know.
Well, it's like I think about it a lot because 'cause I'm just like, I don't know, like, I don't really think I'm not that I honestly don't think I'm that smart or, like, interesting or anything like that. I'm just a girl, with opinions, and kind of sarcastic and snarky at times. So, I mean, it's like, I don't really know why so many people follow me, to be honest.
Yeah. And
Um,
it's
I appreciate it.
it's interesting. It really is just a place where Twitter is a place where normal people are have a way of resonating really well with, like, it is a place of the masses in a way.
And I
Forrest,
feel like
Mommy,
that's
and Hex are good examples of that, but they were also
mhm.
noisy when it comes to certain specific uh, tweets.
Well, yeah, you gotta watch what you say.
Yeah, but boy, especially she was just really targeted. They said, no, 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 we can't have this one. I don't know why so much they they really can't have them. Uh,
Yeah, and, like, well, also, like, people mass report, that I think I remember seeing, like, some accounts just, like, saying, like, "Report these people." Um, so and I mean, who knows if that's still gonna be the same or if it might change now that Elon's the CEO.
yeah, I don't think
Well, it
so.
remains to be seen.
I think it's oof. Yeah. Check that out. It's somewhere around like an hour into the show or
Mhm.
45 minutes in the show. It's like a 3-hour podcast, so I don't know how much time you have
Oh,
for
wow.
podcasts, but it's somewhere within the first hour that they go into the
Okay.
Elon thing. But I just think basically what they're saying is it's going to be a payment. He's trying to actually take Twitter and evolve it into something better than PayPal. That's what he's saying. And it has nothing to do with
Okay.
free speech or our voice or it's just another ruse, man. I don't trust any of these people. I don't get excited
Yeah,
about
I mean,
any of
it's
these
like
people.
sometimes it's good to be a conspiracy theorist because, you know,
That I am.
and to like well, I mean, I'm like that too. I'm like, if something's too good to be true, I'm like, wait a second, you know?
hmm I remember the first time I saw Barack Obama on TV that I recall anyway, and I was standing next to an older guy, an old. He was a friend of mine who was old, but super
Mhm.
hip, super hipster, still like 60 years old, total hipster, but hippie style because he was from 60s
Mhm.
era. And but he knew immediately. He was like, this can't be too good to be true. Uh, but yeah, super charismatic guy, you know. Um, anyway, that it gets us to an hour and 6, and it. I think I don't know. Yeah, there's not too much to. It's not a too complicated thing. How your Twitter following is what it is. It is what it is. It's fun. Do you have
Yeah,
fun doing that? Like, so
I
anything you
do.
tweet, right? Actually, I want to ask this. Everything you tweet gets noticed. Every single tweet. You could say, I had a sandwich today and there was the
I don't
bread
know.
was
There's
stale.
some things that like people don't care about.
Yeah, you
I'm
should know have
sure.
that discretion. But I think that I noticed that it like regular people that have these big followings, um, unlike a celebrity who's kind of been groomed and trained into that life, and kind of knows how to manage it. I see that sort of like I see this temptation. I mean, I don't see you doing it so much, and I'm not saying who I see doing this, but I see this temptation to just sort of constantly get that hit of
Mhm.
attention and just any thought that they want to get out. And I understand because I'll post a thought. I really want somebody to hear it, and nobody responds to the tweet, and it's like I want somebody to hear this thought. If I suddenly had 10,000 followers tomorrow, I don't know if I could handle it right. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Um, I
Do you
don't
find
know.
it the
In
addiction at all? Do you struggle with that, or is it
um,
find that you can balance that out all right?
I think I'm a lot better about it now than I used to be. I used to tweet like a lot. I mean, I still do kind of. I reply to a lot of tweets. But I stopped like tweeting like every single thought that like popped into my head. I'll draft a lot of tweets
I
and
need to
like
do that
think
more.
about them, you know, because I have like random thoughts that like pop into my head, and so I'll just like draft it and think about it for a minute. Because I mean, sometimes my thoughts aren't that great. Like after I think about them, you know, I'm kind of goofy sometimes.
Yeah.
Um, so but yeah, like, I try not to tweet like too much. Although I probably tweet more than most any of still. Um, and it's not necessarily like you can get addicted to it. Um, but I'm really just here just to have fun. I don't I like to tell people that like I don't journal, so I use Twitter. So I mean it's just like, you know, for the thoughts that I can't necessarily share with everyone on Facebook. Because Facebook is for like friends and family that think I'm, you know, uh,
Right.
well,
Yeah.
so,
Okay. Yeah.
I can,
Yeah.
like, say I
Yeah.
can say things that, like, they might see as inappropriate and, not be judged.
Yeah. I I'm afraid of my Instagram friends who are mostly my local at this point it's a lot more new Philadelphia friends, and then old Portland friends, and these are almost all left wingers.
Mhm.
Being an artist, I love, and the music and the places I like to go, and the people who are the most fun and do the coolest things are lefties. And I've been
Yeah.
that way my whole life up until very recently. I'm just now free floating, and I'm neither. So on Instagram, I keep it completely apolitical, and
Yeah, me
I'm
too.
always
I well,
nervous about what they're going to find when they watch my not a podcast show, or if they go to my Twitter. But whatever, if they hate me because I want medical freedom or whatever, it's like, okay, if I have a
yeah,
counter narrative to the vaccine or something, then and you hate that, then okay, I guess we can't be friends. But it makes me nervous. But I
yeah.
more and more have to get over it, because I just got to be consistent, you know.
Mhm.
There's a DJ in town who does completely apolitical too. This is the last thing I'm going to say, but I went to his SoundCloud, then linked to his Twitter, and he has no followers, and he's pretty famous. He's like pretty big, but he has no followers on Twitter. Hasn't tweeted anything, but he's following Ron DeSantis, Marjorie Taylor Greene.
Oh my gosh,
Uh,
no.
yeah,
That's
he's
funny.
following these like total right wing types characters that are like,
Mhm.
it's like, that's so interesting because he has money, and I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, I bet he actually is a secret conservative. And, I'm not going to say who it is either, because I don't want to get in
Okay.
trouble
I don't
for
need to know.
for the audience who is not here. I wonder if anybody's
Yeah,
watching
yeah.
on Twitter, because nobody made it to the YouTube. It'll play um over time. So where do people follow you on Twitter?
At call me K1123.
All right, at call me K1123. I'll send you like one follower maybe. If you, if I'm successful. All right, thank you for being here. I enjoyed our conversation. You don't have to hang up,
Me
but
too.
I'm gonna take you off the stream and do my outro. Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thanks again.
Bye.
Um. All right. So that was Kristin. She hung up. Excuse me. I've been holding back a little bit of a spittle in my throat, which is a lovely thing to end the show with. That was a good call with Kristin. I enjoyed getting to know her a little bit. It's another perspective. oh my God, terrible. This is this is live. I'm just gonna have to end it. I got a cough. Thank you for being here. I love you. Take care of yourself. Bye.